Chapter 9. I sipped my hot chocolate and watched Lionel squirm. He sat across from me at the kitchen table. Jordan's robot case was in the middle of the table. Hurrah sat beside me, poking the marshmallows floating in her hot chocolate with her finger. 3 pinks, she blew at the steam rising from her mug. That means I'm lucky. Mr. Cabot put a mug of hot chocolate in front of Lionel. Lionel didn't take his eyes off the robot case. After we spotted Lionel at the window, we explained to Mr. Cabot about the design plans we found at Lionel's maker space table. That was enough for Mr. Cabot to invite us in for a chat with his grandson. Okay, so what did we just find out that we actually didn't know? So they actually didn't they found the robot case at Mr. Cabot's house, but whose house is that?
Lionel's.
It's Lionel's house. So now does that make Lionel more suspicious?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say it does. It makes him look a little bit more suspicious, right? Michael, turn the background off. Thank you. Okay, so it makes him look a little more suspicious, right? Because not only have we just found out that it was at Mr. Cabot's house, but actually his house is Lionel's house. So now we're going, okay, now we're a little bit more suspicious of this. Now we're a little bit more suspicious of Lionel. Mr. Cabot joined us at the table with his own mug of hot chocolate. Okay, kids, I called your parents to let them know you're here, he said. Myron, your mom will be here soon to take both of you home. Thank you, I said. Mr. Cabot turned to his grandson. Okay, Lionel, want to tell us what's going on? I was going to say that, I said. They all looked at me. As the detective here, I'm supposed to ask the questions. I apologize, Myron, Mr. Cabot chuckled. Please proceed. I turned to our number 1 suspect. Why were Jordan's robot plans stuck to the bottom of your makerspace table? Lionel looked into his hot chocolate. Maybe he was thinking. Maybe he was counting marshmallows. I took them, he said eventually. Aha! Hurrah jumped to her feet and pointed dramatically at Lionel. You are the robot thief. No! Lionel's eyes were wide with panic. I didn't steal the robot, just the plans. Honest. Oh, Hurrah flopped back into her chair. Then I'm confused. I sipped my drink. So am I. Lionel sighed. It started last week. Everyone in the Maker Club was making a robot for the maze challenge. Glitch promised she would help me with mine, but then she was too busy building her own bot. Didn't your teacher help? Mr. Cabot asked. Mrs. Fay is really smart, but she doesn't know everything about computer code. She always says that she is just there to guide us on our journey of discovery. Lionel scowled at his hot chocolate. Whatever that means. Hurrah poked her floating marshmallows with her finger again. Yeah, she says stuff like that to me, too. I was really mad at Glitch, Lionel said. I took the robot plans to get back at her. Without those plans, I figured she would make a mistake and her robot wouldn't work. She'd be stuck. Just like you were stuck, Hurrah said. She didn't look up from the marshmallows. I taped the plans under my table, Lionel said. I was going to give them back when Glitch apologized for not helping me. But when I got to school yesterday, I heard their robot was stolen. I knew if I admitted to taking the plans, everyone would think I took the robot too. You pretended to be sick so you could leave school early, I said. You told me you were on death's door, Mr. Cabot glared at his grandson through his thick glasses. I'm sorry, Grandpa, he said. You have to believe me. I didn't take the robot, but I saw the person who did. I sat up straight. Go on. I didn't see much. It was dark. I was in bed. My room looks over the back alley. I heard the garbage lid shut and thought it was the raccoons again. Raccoons, Mr. Cabot said in a growl. They're always getting into the garbage and making a mess. But it wasn't raccoons, Hurrah said. Nope, Lionel took another sip of his hot chocolate. When I went to the window to look, all I saw was a person walking up the alley toward Jordan's house. You didn't actually see this person with the robot, I asked. No, but there was no one else around, Lionel said. It was dark. They wore a hoodie. I didn't see what the person looked like. I don't even know if it was a boy or a girl. We were all silent for a moment. Suddenly, hold on. We were all silent for a moment. Suddenly, Lionel pushed his chair back. Be right back, he said, and he ran out of the kitchen. His feet thumped up the stairs. Sounds like he's going to his room, Mr. Cabot said. 45 seconds later, Lionel came back into the kitchen. When Grandpa found the robot case, he brought it into the kitchen. I recognized it right away, but didn't say anything. Lionel put a piece of orange plastic on the table. It was lying inside. It looked like the last candy in a bowl, so I took it. The piece of plastic was almost as long as my thumb and round like a cylinder. It had red paint on one end, but the rest of it was orange. Something had split the plastic down the middle, so it could be open and closed like a mouth. It's broken, I said. It looks like it's been stepped on by something heavy. That's how I found it, Lionel said quickly. I have no idea what it is. Hurrah leaned across the table to get a closer look at the piece of cracked plastic. Another clue, she said. Thanks, Lionel. I didn't share my partner's excitement. I didn't know why, but something about our new clue didn't feel right. Before I could ask another question, the doorbell rang. That'll be your mom, Myron, Mr. Cabot got up from his chair. Visit us another time so we can chat again. This wasn't a chat, I said. It was an interview, and we're not finished. Well, we don't want to keep your mom waiting, Mr. Cabot smiled. You can finish your interview with Lionel at school on Monday. Mr. Cabot left the kitchen to answer the door. Hurrah took the robot case from the table. Lionel collected the mugs and took them to the sink. I hope you find the thief, he said. We will, Lionel. I put the piece of plastic in my pocket. Detectives don't stop until we've uncovered the truth. So we're kind of figuring out that, so we now know, is Lionel really a suspect? Did he take the robot?
No.
No, he didn't, right? We're finding out, so no, Lionel didn't take the robot. Lionel just took the robot plans. And why did Lionel take the robot plans?
Because Glitch didn't help him with his other robot, and he thought the robot that Glitch was making wouldn't work if they didn't have the plans.
Correct. So he took the plans to get back at Glitch, right? Because he was mad that Glitch wouldn't help him. So we now know that Lionel is not a suspect. So we can actually cross him off of our suspect list. We'll do it here in a second. We'll cross him off of our list because we know that now he is not a suspect anymore. But we do know that they have found another clue. Do we know exactly what the clue is?
No.
No.
It's not.
We don't know exactly what the clue is. All we know is that this clue is a piece of plastic that looks like it's been smushed or cut open. Okay, so Hurrah and Myron now have to figure out what exactly this clue means. Okay, so we're going to keep reading. Hurrah sat next to me in the back seat as my mom drove us home. She was picking at the piece of plastic Lionel had given us. Myron, she said suddenly, there's a number on this thing. She held it up for me to see. The number 37 was etched into one end of the plastic cylinder. It was covered by a bit of red paint. Hurrah bounced in her seat. What does it mean? I asked, and why was it painted over? No idea, but I'm sure it will lead us to Robinson the robot. Hurrah beamed. This is our lucky clue. Detectives don't need luck, I grumbled. We don't even know if Lionel is telling the truth. He could have been hiding the rest of the robot somewhere, and we don't even know what that thing is. It could be a red herring, a fake clue to throw detectives off the trail of the thief. Hurrah rolled her eyes. I know what a red herring is, Myron. I just think you're wrong. It is a lucky clue. My mom pulled in the car into Hurrah's driveway. Hurrah said goodbye and got out. Before she closed the door, she turned back to me. Myron, just like a good detective needs a partner, a good detective also needs a little luck. She handed me the piece of plastic. It was warm. See you tomorrow, partner. I put the plastic in the robot case. It sat in my lap for the rest of the way home. Lionel was right. The plastic did look like the last candy in a bowl. I wished the bowl would fill up with answers, but when we got home, I still had only questions. Did Lionel really see someone in the alleyway last night, or was he making that up to hide the fact that he stole the bot? Where did the piece of orange plastic come from? Did he really find it with the robot case, or was he making that up too? I didn't know if we could trust Lionel. He had taken the robot plans. He had lied to his grandfather and the school about being sick, and he had run away from us at the park. Maybe he was making up this story about a kid in a hoodie to throw us off the trail. Lionel lived down the alley from Jordan. He could have snuck out at night, taken the robot, and been back in bed before anyone noticed. But how did he get into the shed? I couldn't answer that question yet. But until I had my hands on all of Robinson the robot, Lionel was still a suspect. So for Myron, Lionel is still a suspect, right? Because he's saying, well, but what if he's lying? Okay. So I want you to think, and then we'll type it in the chat after we finish the chapter. Okay. But I want you to think if you think Lionel is still a suspect. Do you believe that Lionel took the robot or that he didn't take the robot? Or do you think maybe he's lying? Okay. Don't say anything yet. Okay. We're going to type in the chat. Don't say anything yet. I'm going to finish the chapter and then we'll type in the chat. Because I feel like that's a really good question for us to think about, is whether we actually believe if Lionel is still a suspect. Because to Myron, he is. So we have to think about, well, to us, is he still a suspect? Do we think he is? And then there was Smasher. No one had seen her robot. Jordan said she didn't do any building at the makerspace. And her house is at the top of Jordan Street and has access to the back alleyway too. My brain buzzed just thinking about it. I opened my notebook and drew straight lines and squares until I had a map of Jordan's back alley. I looked at the picture until my mom told me to turn my light out. As I drifted off to sleep, one question floated through my mind. Why was the robot thief walking toward Jordan's shed? Okay, so before we do our plot mountain, let's ask the Lionel question. Do you think Lionel is still a suspect? Yes or no, and then why? Do you think Lionel is still a suspect? Yes or no, and then why? And this is your opinion. There's no right or wrong answer. This is your opinion. There's no right or wrong answer. Okay, so I have a lot of yeses. I have a few no's. Okay, I have a few no's. I have some yeses. Yes, Jason.
So Michelle, are you gonna tell us what you think?
Huh? Say that one more
Are
time.
you gonna tell us what you think?
Yes. So because I think I'm gonna go with yes, that I think we are still gonna count him as a suspect. just because with the fact that Myron, when he was asking his questions, he makes a really good point in the sense that he says, well, but what if he's lying? What if he's hidden the robot? What if he's, given us this clue to try and throw us off his trail? And so to me, I think there's still too many questions to completely cross Lionel off the list. Does that make sense? There's no right or wrong answer. If you don't think Lionel's a suspect anymore, then that's right too. This is just an opinion question. Okay. So let's look at our plot mountain. Okay. Let's add some stuff to our plot mountain. So what has just happened? What are some of our big events? Because this is a long chapter. What are some things that happened? Let's go from like the beginning of the chapter. We found out what, Michael? What did we find out at the beginning of the chapter?
They found Lionel and he admitted that he didn't steal the robot.
Okay, so we know they found Lionel, but where did they found Lionel at where?
At the alleyway.
Not at the alleyway.
Garden?
On the shed.
They found him at his house, right? They found Lionel at his house. And his house happened to be where what was?
Jordan's house.
Katya, what happened to be where Lionel's house was?
Mr. Carpet's.
Uh-huh. Mr. Cabot's house, which is where we found what?
The case?
Yeah.
The robot case, right? Okay. So I'm going to put Lionel's house is where the robot case was found. Okay. And I'm actually going to even add that down here too to Lionel because I feel like that makes him a little more suspicious. Okay. All right. And then what happened after that? After they found out that his house was where they found the case, then what happened? They talked to him and they found out what?
He did not steal it.
Okay, but he did take what?
The instructions to make the
Okay.
robot.
And Grace, why did he take the instructions for the robot?
To get revenge on Glitch because she didn't help him with his robot.
So I'm going to say Lionel took the robot plans to get revenge on Glitch. Okay. Okay. Then, so we know that Lionel has said he didn't take it, right? He's like, no, I didn't take it. I just took the plans. I didn't take the actual robot. Okay. Well, then next in the chapter, right? They still ask him a bunch of questions and they keep asking him questions. But even though he said that he didn't take the robot, does that completely clear him from Myron's suspect list? Camila, does it?
Nope.
Nope, it does not, right? So, do you think I should add on my plot mountain that Lionel is still a suspect to Myron because there's too many unanswered questions? Okay, I have a lot of thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to add that. Okay. All right. And that is the last of our, not the last, but last for today, our read aloud.
Miss Chandler, how much time do